What's going on, guys? Nathan. Welcome to another episode of Hyperspace Hype. Very excited, as always, to be chatting more Star Wars with all the crew. Lineup's a little different tonight. So first off, queuing things up, we got Evan.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a pretty slow week for Star Wars, but I'm very excited to talk about the Clone Wars and everything going on with the Star Wars novels. A lot of WTFs, to say the least.
Also joining us is Carson.
What's going on, guys? I am reunited with my Star Wars while hosting these beautiful posters, including this Ahsoka. I'm getting hyped for her to show up in Clone Wars, but we're still talking the Bad Batch arc. Some interesting progress to be made in this episode that we'll get to, and a lot of other, fun Star Wars. Maybe some stuff we didn't like. We'll see.
And also on board joining us is Brandon.
Hey everyone, it's going to be on the full podcast this time because last week I had to bounce early. But yeah, ready to talk Clone Wars, ready to talk about some other Star Wars stuff that we've been throwing around back and forth with each other. So yeah, ready to get into it. Let's go.
All right, and to kick things off, we will be talking about this nice little short clip they released of this battle. It was pretty cool.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, but no, I did find that interesting. Like the runtime is only like 17 minutes for this episode.
18 minutes.
Yeah, as soon as I woke up and I saw that, I was like, "What?" And watching it, it was clear to me that it honestly feels like they took a 3-episode arc, but they stretched it to 4. Because I think we have one more episode of this arc. So.
Yeah, we have one more. Yeah.
But I feel like this could have blended with either or episodes attached to it, and
they could have
made too much of a difference.
They could have easily extended the runtime on last night's episode and last week's episode and
that's just what I was gonna say. Is make that middle part one extension. I get why they wanted to leave the Finding Echo as the last part of last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but also in the beginning of this, it literally just feels very continuous.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally just goes back outside the room, and then Anakin runs in, and we're back right in the middle of things.
Mm-hmm. They could have had it to where it could have been a 3-episode arc. See, the thing that gets me is this episode was so short, 17 minutes, but at the same time, there's an unfinished in the unfinished animation. There's 5 or 6 minutes of footage missing. The unfinished animation was longer.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
I'm gonna
Apparently, people are raving about there's 5 or 6 minutes of a scene missing.
Okay. I think 18 minutes. This has to be the shortest episode of the Clone Wars entire series. Somebody was talking to me about that. I think because it was
Hello
shorter
talked about that.
Oh, did he? Okay. But yeah, it's very short for some reason. I mean, there was a lot of great, what we come to love and respect from the Clone Wars. A lot of great action, a lot of great dialogue, a lot of great action. I love seeing the Bad Batch together. It just wasn't anything impactful this episode. There's no great character moment, at least that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me a lot of Mandalorian episode 4, actually, where you kind of have to get the trust of this village and kind of. Very man versus machine kind of episode where we, the Bad Batch rolls down the rocks and they're kind of fighting these droids. And I love one character moment that I did really like is in the beginning of the episode where Anakin's like, did you call in the rescue team or reinforcements or whatever? And Rex is like, no, they're not, or no response or something. You kind of get a good kind of reinforcement of where Anakin is at this point of how his trust level with the Jedi Council and kind of how, we talked about last week of how they were apprehensive about this mission. And so you kind of get a good indication of where he's at. And he's like, well, we're on our own. Of course we are.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an interesting moment. Yeah.
Kind of like Mission Impossible in that sense.
Yeah,
we're on our own. The CIA is not going to come get us this time. So yeah, I like that.
Wow, I really loved when they're having to escape that one room, and Wrecker is throwing all of them up in the vents.
Oh yeah, that was very funny.
he was like, what are you god! He just tosses him up.
That was great later on during the battle. Like he throws Rex like, not again.
Yeah, Wrecker is hilarious. Probably one of my favorites. I still like Hunter the best. Hunter and Tech the best.
Heck.
Yeah, Tech is great. Tech's really clutch. But that whole sequence in the beginning reminds me. So we met a couple of new droids this episode too. So we have the Decimator, which comes in kind of like kind of does what the Jedi do in terms of unlocking doors by creating a perfect circle. But
then turns to like an electric spider.
Yeah, I really like that. And then it like kills all organic life in the vicinity. I mean, that was really interesting. The first time I've seen that kind of thing.
I liked when
it looked like a Tesla ball, you know, when it like yeah.
I liked when the clones were trying to barricade the door, and then like the one droid pushes heads through. It felt Jurassic Park-esque to me with the Raptors.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there's a lot of movie references in this episode that I kind of noticed. I don't know if it was intentional or not. But then also, when they were leaving, they
fly now. They fly now.
I saw that my reaction. I was like, "Oh, they fly."
I have that in my notes. I was like, "Now this is where you use they fly now," because that was our actually first time seeing droids fly. I mean, like we've seen super battle droids have like kind of jetpacks, but these things actually fly and they glide.
It was cool.
And everything. So
especially at the villager fight, they were like forming like kind of like this wall. I noticed. I don't know if you guys initially noticed that when they like invaded and brought reinforcements. They were like kind of forming like this barricade of like flying. Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, I love that. Because last week we were wondering like, why did these things look so different? They're not stronger,
right? And now it appears why they're lighter. You know?
Yeah, they're lighter. They so they can glide and fly, aerodynamics, stuff like that. But during that scene, I also like kind of referenced The Hobbit too, when they were like, "Who do we call in? We're trapped here. Let's call in the random flying birds ex machina over here." That was escape. I was like, "Is that a Hobbit reference there?" But yeah, that was really nice. And then I
was happy to see that Echo seemed to be back to his functioning self.
Yeah,
I will say for the most part, for that one, I will say for the most part, because in the ending of the episode where he's like, "It's just old times, Echo." And then he hesitates for a second. He's like, "Yeah, just like old times."
Yeah, that got me nervous. What's that about? What is that about? Yeah,
I think that's just journey of the clone. You know, it's like he's been out of it, and he's seen the consequence that it's brought to him and clones in general, and what they can be manipulated into. And so, not that he's hanging it up by any means, but I think he's going to be a little more weary of their purpose going forward. You know,
I just felt like a lot sad when he said that, because like. I do believe he thinks like he can actually like go home and be all right, but it just made me sad because I know Order 66 is right around the corner, so it's all gonna get
right. So it could be a little more of a meta nod, you know, like hey, like
exactly. I mean, that's interesting. I got the sense that everything's not exactly right with Echo. I still think he's gonna die in the next episode. Either he's gonna die or he'll sacrifice himself. I felt like that line made it seem like he feels very guilty for everything that's happened.
I was surprised. I don't know what you guys feel about the stakes so far in this arc. I was surprised we haven't lost a member of the Bad Batch yet.
Yeah, I mean that's what I talked about last week. I was like, I thought one of them was going to die. I thought like Wrecker. I could see Wrecker dying because he's kind of like the Hulk.
I thought Wrecker was going to be sliced in half in that little vent.
I thought he was gonna get crushed by that one flying.
Oh yeah, during that moment when he was holding the thing or something.
Yeah.
I think the Bad Batch are going to be okay for this arc, but I think you may get a casualty during the actual Order 66 later on.
Ugh.
Oh, like would the clones turn on the Bad Batch? Is what you're saying, or
I think the Bad Batch don't have inhibitor chips, and I think they'll stand with the Jedi. Or, you know, since like they fought with Anakin, they were like cool with them.
You know what's unfortunate is those natives, they said the Jedi have safe passage through their village whenever. That doesn't last long.
I know, yeah. That poor village. I mean, throughout the Clone Wars, that happened all the time.
Hopefully, they'll find a way. If they do what Noah was saying about that Rebel spinoff, just go back there somehow.
Be like, I was thinking that too.
Be like, oh, I heard that. I heard the Jedi have safe passage.
Yeah, we kind of messed up their village.
My name is Ezra, and I have a lightsaber.
I'm here with Thrawn.
Look, it's mixed with a gun.
I'm interested to see. I was intrigued when the Techno Union leader was addressing the others about like how like they had lost their financial asset with losing Echo, and now they need to find something to replenish that. I'm intrigued to see if that goes anywhere.
Oh, that's a good part. Yeah, small line. I guess it could have some kind of big consequence going forward. Because this arc really, it needs to, or does it really need to line up with the rest of the season? I mean, some arcs in the Clone Wars don't go together, kind of like Rebels does. But
Right.
is this going to have any big impact? I mean, we saw that.
Yes, on Anakin.
On Anakin, we saw the hologram scene, but yeah.
So maybe next episode, it is the finale of the arc. The stakes will kick in full force, and I think something's gonna happen to somebody out of the group that it's out of Anakin's control, and maybe could have been protected if Jedi had more paying more attention to this kind of mission. Or I don't know. I think they're gonna get blowback from actually rescuing Echo. I don't know what that's gonna look like yet.
Man, you know what's unfortunate? He doesn't know about fives.
Well,
oh yeah,
right.
Echo is part of that whole 5. So,
Yeah,
Domino Squad.
Dang, that is tragic. Yep, he doesn't know yet, and he might not know if he dies next week. We never know. That's tragic. I mean, I just feel like there needs to be consequences for this mission. They came in, they got Echo, they left. I'm like, is anybody going to die besides those random villagers? So,
right.
I don't need anybody to die. I just need some kind of consequence. Something.
It just felt like a weird action scene. There wasn't that much dialogue in it. Anything.
Yeah, it was all cool action scenes, great moments like Anakin coming in and slicing off that droid. That droid, by the way, it looked like a monster from War of the Worlds. Like
that's why
yeah.
I my video. I was like, oh snap.
Well, that thing was in.
It was in the Clone Wars movie.
They were in the Clone Wars movie.
They were in the Clone Wars movie. They were also
Battle
in
of
the Sith.
Wow.
They were
Anakin took it down the same way.
I do remember him. Yeah, but it's so weird because the animation here is just
incredible. Yeah, totally.
I think this was an advanced one too because I noticed they
fly.
No, the tripod. Like other than it like having a purple beam, like the beam was like longer, more intense. I thought it was more upgraded version.
They also fly.
Yeah.
They did fly. Yeah, they did.
I did not know that was in the Clone Wars. I saw the Clone Wars movie one time in theaters, and I have not watched it again. So
in theaters, ooh, true Jedi.
I'm a true fan. But yeah, overall it's a very fun episode. I like the action. Anakin had a lot of great action scenes per usual. It just wasn't too impactful overall.
Evan, now that you mention it, I've seen the movie too in theaters.
Oh, cool! Join the club.
Nathan, Carson, how about you guys?
I got it on DVD from a friend, and I was like, "What's this? Clone Wars?"
They're not true fans. They didn't get to hear Sky.
I didn't see it until probably 5 years ago.
Oh wow, pretty recent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had the DVD. I think I rented it from Blockbuster once, and then but I actually have it. I have physically. I think even up here, like somewhere, I have my Clone Wars DVD. But no, yeah, like, and then I like started watching like season 1 on Cartoon Network, and I fell off, and then got back later on because I was a child. But yeah, Clone Wars is great. Always good stuff. I'm definitely excited to see how the arc concludes and like where we go next. I'm intrigued if we're going to. Our next arc is going to take us into seeing Ahsoka, or
definitely,
it has to. I'm very excited to see Ahsoka in 1313 again.
Or if it goes to Maul, or both.
We're gonna need. Well, we definitely need to get Ahsoka in because if we're gonna get the ball rolling on Mandalore, we're gonna have to get her in while she's not in exile, but when she's left the Order, we need to see what she's up to, so we can get moving on Mandalore.
Totally. And that, God, isn't that crazy? There's only 9 episodes left.
That's crazy. Give me more episodes. Yeah.
It's already
season 8 confirmed. I'm just kidding.
Rebels remember.
Rebels remember.
Yeah, but that's exciting. So yeah, good episode overall. Probably not well, I don't know. I think I liked it about as much as the pilot. Just because the action was pretty like beautiful to look at, like the whole in the village, that whole battle. But I guess it doesn't have the equal charm of introducing the Bad Batch because you're already with them. But they have great moments. But I still think episode 2 has been the best so far.
I agree.
Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to stuff that regards the novelization for the Rise of Skywalker.
Ooh.
Lot of hidden tidbits that you don't necessarily you can't pick up.
Palpatine himself did not even get the fuck.
Good.
There we go.
We didn't want that.
There it
We
is.
wanted that.
There we go.
Clone.
Yeah, you can only be a Sith if you're a virgin. We knew this.
No.
Oh, geez.
No, but okay, so yeah, we'll start with talking about that. We'll talk about Palpatine is in the Rise of Skywalker himself a clone, a deteriorated one. Interesting in the sense of just getting this new knowledge. I mean, you know, I know everybody here has their opinion on Rise of Skywalker. I watched it again yesterday for the final time in theaters with the context of the novel, which was interesting. It didn't like change my perspective of the film, but I was reminded, like I am every time, because I'm always hanging out with you guys, and you guys rag on it a lot, so I'm just like, yeah. But then, like when I go to rewatch it on my own, I'm like, you know, it's a fun time.
Yeah.
So,
let's preface this by saying like these are from people who have read the novel. Like these are technically novel spoilers because the book doesn't come out until the end of the month. I think I forget the exact release
Or
date.
a middle. I think it's the 15th.
March 15th?
Yeah.
I got some pages.
And then the
yeah.
Blu-ray is
The Blu-ray is at the end of the
27th.
month. Got it. Yeah, I mixed it up. So yeah, people don't want to listen to novel spoilers. You might not like this section, but it's not too spoilery. Yeah.
Which we already said clone thing, but
even then, like I'll go into it first. The clone thing, you could kind of get that from the movie itself. Palpatine claims he says like I've died before, something along those lines. And then
like you see all the clone vats with Snow.
You see in the clone vats exactly all the failed stuff, and then you have Dominic Monaghan's character. Not a huge fan of his character, but even he says like.
He says that I was surprised how early on he actually says that about the Sith cloning.
Yeah, like Sith cloning magic something. Yeah,
the whole Palpatine return thing happens like right before Rey even leaves for her Pisana. Like
he was just one of J.J. Abrams' friends who wanted to make some money.
I mean, you're not wrong, but he was also there in terms of what's it called, giving the viewers context.
I was going to say it to steal Rose's lines, but sorry. Continue.
And steal Rose's lines.
Yeah.
She had to stay on the planet, Carson. Come on.
She had to do ship repairs, research.
But yeah, so Palpatine's a clone, and this is where it gets really confusing. And I need your guys' help.
We need it. Nathan knows the timeline. Nathan knows it.
Okay.
So the stuff that came out was Palpatine was already he sensed the light in Vader, so as a precautionary plan of being overthrown, he already started developing clones for himself. So as he's being thrown down the reactor shaft, he transfers his essence to a clone.
Okay, let's pause it. Let's pause it right there.
Return of Jedi. Right just the whole throat.
Terria, what the hell?
Wait, did you not know, Brandon?
Oh no! You told me last night, and I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell?
Like now, I go back and watch Return of the Jedi and think about.
He knew. That means he knew.
I think about Vader's turn, and that whole scene of Luke talking to the Emperor, you know, and him throwing away his saber, and like,
I don't think that discounts what Luke did in that movie. But
we're not talking about what Luke did. We're talking about what Vader did.
And what Palpatine knew is what I'm saying, like how he's going about it, you know?
Okay. But I feel like Palpatine. So what you're saying is because Palpatine didn't expect Vader to turn on him in Return of the Jedi? Is that what you're saying?
This is what's been like common knowledge for the past 40 years, but almost
I don't
40, but now it's getting changed.
I don't think Vader's sacrifice is underwhelmed because I feel like it's still the same placement of like right from the get-go of Force Awakens. Since you already have a new Empire and like Snoke's in power, you already have a replacement, so you're already in that mindset to begin with. But with the whole context with Anakin's Force Ghost, bring back the balance, like you said in Rise of Skywalker, I think it still works because he did bring peace for a certain amount of time, as
For a
like
brief
with,
time.
as with our history, like our soldiers sacrifice to win wars, even though we get more wars later on.
Yeah.
Their sacrifices are still worthy.
Also, it kind of ruins the book Lords of the Sith because they pretty much say the Sith's apprentice's goal is to overthrow the master.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, though, Brandon. I think
you'd have to say, like dark side, though.
Yeah, no. Also, I think Palpatine really didn't like. I mean, it might get controversial, but I don't think Palpatine really accepted the rule of two. I don't think he ever wanted Vader to betray him. I think he always knew Vader might betray him. He was always testing Vader, but he never wanted Vader to outlive him.
Have you read it?
Yeah. I've read
it's like, he basically in the book, Palpatine sensed it the entire time. He sensed it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's also a completely different, not a different Vader, but that's a
different time period.
A different time being Vader of, these still glimpses and stuff of Anakin and those, those thoughts of like what's changed and everything that's happening within his mind. It's like it's a very vulnerable kind of time for that, for just like what he's doing.
We lost Nathan.
No, we're good. But I think Palpatine in that moment, in terms of the Jedi, I think he can sense that. I don't mind that he can sense that Vader is going to betray him. I think he's always been testing Vader, in a way. Sure. I still don't like the whole cloning process thing.
Well, yeah. So, how long ago would you have had to make the clone? Because, like, I get it, growth acceleration is a thing, but
I'm not sure.
Because you can kind of match this up with the timing of making a clone. Because you remember in the Battlefront 2 game when you had to pretty much do a siege on Kamino to stop the cloning process. Mm-hmm. What if Vader's goal there was like his Boba Fett was tasked with going there as well, but what if like special forces were tasked there to get a vial or like something to clone Palpatine? I mean, what do you think?
It's very possible.
I just don't care about like those little, like, okay, how did it happen? I just kind of look at the bigger picture and look what it says narratively about everything. Mm-hmm. And to me, it just like kind of shoots itself in the foot a little too many times for me personally. Not that it overwhelmingly compromises previous moments in Star Wars. It just feels like a little too much, a little too late. And I think, especially if you look at like, he made the clones or what he made Snoke or whatever, which is and then you look at the throne room scene in Last Jedi of like, and he turns to face his, that whole monologue of flipping everything on its head of like Ben kind of escaping,
goes right out the door.
It doesn't go right out the door, but it kind of I don't know. It just feels like
it contradicts itself.
It feels like he's just falling into the same thing over, even if he like it has all these contingencies all over the place, and it feels like what's the point in the first place of having, I don't know. It's just
I agree with what you're saying, Carson. I mean, for the Snoke thing, I still see Snoke, especially like in the Rise of Kylo Ren comic. I still see Snoke as a individual person, even though he is a clone of Palpatine. Because that's how I kind of have to reconcile it in my head. I think of Snoke as an individual person. Because if not, then of course Snoke knew about the Dyad in The Last Jedi, but suddenly Palpatine is surprised by it in The Rise of Skywalker. So I kind of think of them as separate people. And then when Kylo still kills Snoke, that's still a very good.
But it's like if Palpatine made him, obviously has some control over him in some way, or they're maybe they're just communicating. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe he didn't have control over his supposed son, so is this the same thing?
I would presume that
also I don't like this.
Snoke relationship is they talk to one another the same way Ben and Palpatine talk in Rise of Skywalker, just like through the Force.
Maybe it's just in a mysterious voice, like.
And I'm sure Snoke just like he found out that info, but he didn't like in the small amount of time that there is in Last Jedi didn't report to Palpatine in that amount of time. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I don't feel like that moment of Kylo in the throne room doesn't lessen Kylo's moment, but you're right, Carson. It does overcomplicate things narratively.
Like I said, it doesn't take away from because like in that moment, it's about Kylo's decision.
Yes,
it's his choice, but like I just hate when our Star Wars goes back and like, okay, but what if?
Yeah, it gets too muddled.
Right.
I don't want to have to think about other things when that happens.
And so when we sit here talking about like clones and vials of this and vials of that, it's like we could be talking about, you know, how Palpatine being back, like, you know, affected Ben and Rey, and like, but really, it's just we get these muddled connections of like, oh, we're gonna bring them back because the past is never gonna go away, but then like they have to justify it in some way without it really meaning much for our main characters, other than the fact that it's a big name in Star Wars, and then we kind of retroactively go back, and then we do all these things, and it's like, it just sits with me wrong in some ways.
It does. It totally does. It's very Star Trek Into Darkness, where like Rey and Ben, like they don't care who Palpatine is.
Right.
None of the sequel trilogy characters care who Palpatine is. Same thing for Into Darkness, where like Kirk and Spock don't care who Khan is, but the audience does, and that's what JJ cares about.
And there could have been a huge kind of leveraging of Palpatine in a way in this movie that didn't rely on the fact of stringing it through lineage or him making Snoke or him making himself a clone. It could have been, you know, simply why couldn't he been messing with the dyad within the Force and just like totally, you know, despairingly pulling Ben and Rey apart, or messing with the Resistance, or, you know, there's all sorts of things that I think he could have done like in the Force that would have been more relevant and like moving forward versus like going back and trying to like reinsert him into the sequel trilogy, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. Like one of my friends on Twitter, White Wolf, he was mentioning how Palpatine could have had his ultimate motive. Instead of wearing the Rise of Skywalker, he's very concerned with taking over the universe again militarily. He could have just been meddling with the Force itself, trying to gain control over the Force itself as an entity, as an evil dark side entity, rather than just living longer.
Right. And it's like, what if he had no presence in Rise of Skywalker, and if he was just in the Force? Like,
Yes.
Force threat is the most terrifying thing. Like, I was sure they were doing that with the movie. I knew once I saw the trailer, I knew he's going to be in physical form eventually, but I was sure that until like, you know, Act 3, that he was going to be completely, we weren't even going to see a physical form. I thought we were just going to see him through his meddling.
Oh yeah, totally.
But
which it goes in line with the whole concept of the sequel trilogy. Like, why is there a sequel trilogy? Because the Force is still unbalanced, because there's still something wrong with the Force.
And it's how the Force has been left to them, and they had to deal with this burden of figuring out on themselves, yet they're still being torn apart, and they have to get through that. But we don't get that. We get, you know, a chase to get Rey to like go to him because, oh, you have his power, and then so now you're responsible for this. Like, it's just such a contrived connection to me. We got to talk about the whole son thing being like, what is it, Nathan? Like a failed clone?
Yeah, I actually do want to dive into that, because that actually
and then like, so then he can't sense Rey, but like Ben, it's just like a
let's slow down.
I can give a positive spin.
Okay, cool.
Going down that route, if bear with me. Okay, so like, yeah, because some people actually had like cool theories in regard to that. So yeah, okay. In terms of the son is a failed Palpatine clone in the sense that he's not Force sensitive. Which, so I guess he's supposed to be a young Palpatine. Fascinating, I guess. But which I hated the fact that makes Rey the daughter of a clone, because that's a big like weird tie that I didn't need. But at the same time, I don't want to bash a clone for living a life, because I watch Clone Wars and I care about clones. But no, there was actually an interesting thing that people point out, that was the cool twist in regard to that is somebody like had theorized that potentially like clones themselves can't be force sensitive, which I think, because I think with Palpatine's physical body, I think he actually is like, it's his spirit, but like it might be still his original body. That's why it's so like broken. Since you can apparently make like a physical being with the his son. It's just like there could be like some like weird different things with the cloning, that like some clones can't be force sensitive, but like if you have one, then it's like a broken one like Palpatine has in Rise of Skywalker. But the thing with that was cool is in regards like if Rey is the daughter of that clone, then her power still is her own power, and so the line where Kylo says, "You have his power," it doesn't necessarily have to mean it's Palpatine's physical power. It's just the power that Palpatine wants, and he's claiming for his own.
Yeah, I always thought of that line. I don't like the line in general, but again, it's coming from our villain, so and Kylo's not necessarily right. Similar to like in The Last Jedi, some of his lines don't actually mean what he really, or what the theme of the movie is. Like Rey is still Rey. I still just don't like that connection.
It's fair, but I'm just like, I'm happy like I can at least like rest easy that like her power is her power.
Well, it just sucks because we have to rely on outside text to reinterpret a decision that, you know, should have been mulled over more, both in the movie and, you know, before in the writing process of like selling us on it.
I agree. Also, like, there's nothing in the movie even hinting at Rey's dad being a clone at all. Which is just crazy to me. It's like an M. Night Shyamalan twist that it doesn't have any seeds planted in it. Like, it's not really a twist. It's just a weird reveal for no reason.
So like when I rewatched the film, like just watching it was just like, okay. But like I said, it's not like the biggest of impacts, but it's intriguing to have like these like little, it's like not in the most positive sense, but it's like when Rian Johnson was talking about his novelization for Last Jedi, it's just like it's cool to have extra tidbits to go with the film.
Yeah. But also, like, I wanted to bring this whole topic up in the first place because I want to know the reason why. Like, back in The Force Awakens, did JJ, in his head, was he always on the idea that she was going to be the son of a clone? Was cloning always in there? Because the words clone was, of course, used in The Force Awakens when Kylo was talking to Hux.
Yeah, but that was only for the army, though. Yeah,
exactly. That's the only mention. So was JJ's vision prior to writing The Force Awakens for the trilogy in general always to have Rey be the daughter of a clone, or is this another?
I'm certain JJ didn't have an end goal, because a lot of like stories he writes, where he's set to things like his whole mystery box thing is setting up stuff he never like has to pay off. So he's never had to do this before.
That's very true.
I wish I would have loved to see how this would have gone if instead of Terrio you got Kasdan back.
Exactly. Because Terrio is responsible for writing himself into a wall and having to pretty much go in depth, explaining it, pretty much digging a hole.
See, I don't know. I still think JJ, like Terrio, isn't going to boss JJ around and say, "Hey, JJ, we're doing clones," and JJ's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do Terrio." Like, no, JJ's been working for like longer than Terrio's been working. So,
but he's also responsible for Martha. Why did you say that name?
Again, Zack Snyder is responsible for that. I think directors have way more say than the writers in terms of these movies. I think
I really don't know how Terrio goes from Argo to here.
Batman here. But yeah, I think like in terms of Batman vs. Superman, Snyder controlled that film. He will always defend the Martha scene. JJ, I think he will always defend the cloning thing. I don't think Chris Terrio put a gun to his head and said, "Let's do clones."
Yeah, and to go back to like, you know, I think of myself as a fool now, sitting here on Twitter for years, like being like, "Oh, there was a plan. There was a plan."
Everybody
No.
thought so.
No, there was no plan.
But
Which-
you know,
Yeah.
Which is in and of itself not necessarily a flaw. I will preface
Yeah.
that.
did you see the interview where Terrio was talking about where he came up with pretty much the script for Rise of Skywalker? Sort of was he watched all of the Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much everything he could, mainly focused on the prequels, and that's why you have prequel flips. That's why you have like cloning and all that.
Which makes sense. I think because he probably grew up on the original trilogy, so the prequels are probably the ones he had to refresh the most.
Yeah, he said that. He actually did
Yeah.
say that. He had to like deep dive into that.
I think Ryan Johnson said the same thing. Yeah, Nathan?
I'm kind of worried though that like because Terrio had admitted like he needed to have crunch time on like catching up with prequel stuff. He's like, oh yes, so totally going into the lore of Plagueis and all that. But like I feel like with his rush, he mainly looked at it much more on a surface level than actually getting really in depth with story.
Right, and it's a instead of looking at how this decision would have challenged Rey or Ben, it's a decision that connects A and B. It's like that. It's like that quote that we had literally for like months and months before the production of Rise of Skywalker. Oh, it's gonna bring everything together. Quite literally,
It
we
brings
get
things together.
a contrived A to B of like, okay, we're gonna make sure that this withstanding villain is literally in the seeds. I mean, of course, metaphorically, Palpatine, you know, he is, but like literally, it's like, okay, Palpatine clone. You know, it's just like continuing the line. Like it's not necessarily looking at how it's challenging our current characters, and it's more of an afterthought.
I agree with that, Carson, but also JJ and Chris Terrio believed that, narratively speaking, they were challenging Rey. They were challenging Rey by saying, like, oh, her greatest fear, because from them, their perspective was that Rey and nobody wasn't challenging enough. So her coming from a clone, I mean, her coming from Palpatine in general, is narratively strong because she comes from evil, but then she's actually really good. And I kind of counter against that by saying you already have a character that does that in terms of Kylo Ren. You don't need to have another character come from bad.
Exactly. And they could have focused on that of like the burden of having the Skywalker name. Of course, we get that at points in the sequel trilogy, but we could have the clear arc is in Rise of Skywalker to me is like, now that Rey has moved past the sense of belonging, it's like now she has this overwhelming responsibility to lead.
Yeah,
and that's hard, man. That's
like
enough.
I like
that
the challenging quote that Poe is just like, yeah, you're here training for what? Like if you fall through on that, been like,
exactly. And instead, they decide to, you know, lightning fingers on. It's like. You know, what baffles me about this movie is you could have done the exact same thing of her being scared of her power, or her being scared that somebody's going to get hurt because of her mistakes of her power, without bringing in the connection of making it her dwelling into this past thing again. You know,
yeah, you could have had her afraid that she was going to fall into the same path that Luke was, which she already feels like she was in the film, so
right? And I think that's what they were going for. You know, especially the Luke scene in this movie, why she ends up there. But I just don't think the traction is there.
Agreed. Yeah.
For why, and that's why to me the Luke scene feels hollow. And then we're lifting an X-wing out, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, now she's all good again. Yeah.
We're all good. You'll take 2 sabers, the X, oh, whatever.
Favorite quote.
All right.
Thank you, Luke.
See, yeah, it just made no sense. Like for her to continue to trust Luke after both Luke and Leia knew that she was a Palpatine.
Oh, I hate
didn't
that.
tell her.
I forgot about that.
That's one of the worst reveals in the movie.
He's like,
by far.
Because you're a Palpatine. I would have instantly been like, what the hell you knew? You didn't tell me? I'm gone. Goodbye.
Think about Ben, man.
Because exactly, they're falling into the same traps that the original trilogy did in terms of Luke being angry at Yoda and Ben. And as an audience member and as characters, we know that's a bad decision. They should have told Luke. But now JJ decides to have these characters that we love, Luke and Leia, do the same thing for no reason. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
really
Luke has this whole TLJ arc of progressing beyond the flaws of the Jedi.
Yes, but then
now he's back.
Now he's
making more flaws.
God, and I really think him and Rey ended at a point of I would have loved him to have a more fine-tuned scene with Rey in this movie and a scene with Kylo and a scene with Ben.
Yeah, I'm still shocked we never got a scene with.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, which is
crazy.
crazy.
Who?
With Ben and Luke, we never had that scene.
That is such a key component of this whole thing.
I'll see you around, kid. And never did.
And it's not even the literal like answer to that I'm looking for. It's just, we had to see 3 different versions of the truth of, their truth to themselves of that night and what happened. And that is such a big catalyst for Kylo Ren as a whole.
For the sequel trilogy.
For everything that's happened.
That's the spark, yeah. That's the spark. The sequel trilogy wouldn't have happened
and to seeing some kind of middle ground of their, they're dealing with all this, to them come up in a scene and just, it seemed like such a logical choice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, let's
go back to novelization. Yeah.
I thought we still were, but
I mean, we kind of are. It's the same story.
I still had fun with it, but I know there's flaws. Okay, so there's some extra Leia stuff, which is always nice. Primarily, a big thing was multiple points throughout the span of Last Jedi: Rise of Skywalker. Luke is speaking to Leia through the Force that it is her time to come and be with the Force. Like she needs to leave this world. Like it's her time to become one. But she's persistent to follow through because she's specifically focusing on Ben because she still believes he can be saved. She's focusing on Rey because got the apprentice relationship going on as we see, and also she has a attachment focus to Poe as well to make sure he's a proper leader to lead on the Resistance when she's gone. Which she had even said in the novel, like she wants. It addresses that like I think Leia physically says like her name is Leia Organa Solo Skywalker, and she wants these names in legacy to be carried on by these individual people. She wants Ben to carry on the Solo name, Rey to carry on Skywalker, not physically, but like in like the terms of like their legacy, and also Poe to carry on the Organa side of things, which I thought was cool. I
don't know if I like that. I mean, I need the context for that. So you're saying, because I heard this was kind of controversial, but I didn't really understand it. So you're saying Poe, or she wanted Poe to carry on the Organa part?
Not that, just in like terms of like Leia's fought for a lot of different things for her life, whether it's personal with her son or it's regarding Jedi Force stuff or the war. So her Organa self with the war, past with Poe, Skywalker stuff, her Jedi stuff with Rey, Solo, her family, Ben.
I like the sentiment, but it also goes into one of my negatives for the Rise of Skywalker in terms of placing everything on the last names and everything. Like I want Rey to be a Rey Skywalker, or Ben to be a Solo. It's like, no, they're all these things. It doesn't have to be explicitly said.
Right. The physical description isn't like as well meaning as like the
sentiment. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
But I do like the sentiment though.
Yeah, I understand it, but I'm like,
And they could have done the Skywalker thing, right? The sentiment of Skywalker being passed down in such a better way. They could have. I think where Rian Johnson left us, in the last scene of The Last Jedi, of the literal legend of Luke Skywalker being reignited and passed down again. you could have seen that amplified on a larger scale as it brings the galaxy together. And it baffles me that we never see a follow-up to the impact of that in a way.
Yeah,
we never see Luke's sacrifice mentioned. It's a big turning point for the Resistance. It's a bit, I mean, of course we get one line of Poe and Zori on the rooftop saying, we sent out a message at the Battle of Crate, but no one showed up. But we don't really see how the galaxy feels about it. And I feel like the lesson in the passing the torch of Skywalker could have been somehow invested in that and how the galaxy reacted to that.
That should have been the like the really catalyst for like you said, Luke's sacrifice. Like I don't think the Resistance should have been struggling at the beginning. I think they should have been like building up their whole group more and more because they're inspired by Luke. Like I feel like that's the thing. Instead of randomly, oh hey, random General Lando has showed up, let's go.
Right, and that's another problem I have. It's like, to me, the connections in this movie are summed up to Lando when Lando saves who is it? Finn and
Jannah.
Yeah, it's like it feels like we're so close to reaching a character moment that makes relevant sense to each of them, but then something else swoops in a way that kind of like tries to evolve it, but ends up kind of just playing it safe and falling back on Star Wars that we think we know,
Yeah.
Falling on like a hoorah moment rather than
right, like here's Lando, like okay, like instead of like, I feel like there needed to be some closure in terms of Poe and God, not that there's any fucking conflict between the two in the movie besides one line.
I wish we had more conflict because I remember they teased that too, like in the articles. They were like, the friends aren't just always friends. There's going to be conflict between
them. And by far, some of the best chemistry between those two.
And then they go with the route of you're difficult. You know that?
Yeah, they turn it into a comedic scene.
Where's my? You messed up my droid. You messed up my Falcon.
Which is a funny scene, but it's like, can we have more conflict?
Yeah.
But yeah, what you guys are talking about in terms of Luke's legacy not being exactly mentioned in The Rise of Skywalker, it also goes into like Rey didn't have to be called Rey Skywalker. Like as an audience member, we can perceive through the connections of these movies that she is part of the Skywalker family now through the connection she had with Luke, through with
and
Leia,
that's a show don't tell thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Show don't tell.
That's a thing that like I immediately I'm sitting in the theater and I'm watching it and like I hear from a couple different crowd, like people under their breath like are already anticipating like, oh, she's gonna say Skywalker, and she does. So that should like it, and if you have any form of a test on it, you should know then like your show don't tell should be explicit. Like if they're already ahead of you and guessing what's gonna happen, just don't go for that.
Just like in Age of Ultron, Avengers.
Then just got it.
Yeah.
As an audience member, they should trust us to be like, we can have these conversations where it's like, oh, do we think Rey's part of the Skywalker family now? Like, oh yeah, I think she is now, especially her relationship with Ben, with Rey, with Leia and with Luke. She is part of the family. But
and I think you brought up Carson. There was a better way to like establish like Rey to carry on Skywalker legacy. I did like, and before I even like got wind of the novelization stuff that they were going for this to begin with, I put in my rewrite that like they're rebuilding the school, restructuring the whole Jedi way. So you are carrying that on, and like the rename of as like they're teach as Skywalkers, but not physically being them last.
Yeah, that's what I always thought it was going to be. The rise of Skywalker. The rise in Ben, the rise in Skywalker broadening to inspire the galaxy and bring anybody together, not just Force users, but the light in general, the concept of it, the balance of it. And even if they're, you know, like I think I just wanted it to give it closure in the sense that we didn't need to have a literal interpretation of her saying it. She more in the sense that the passing on of it could have been, I don't know, just like more. I don't know if it would have been, to me. I don't know, like the whole or like showing. I know they were in the concept art. There was like kids shown of like, oh, like we're gonna start. And I don't think it's a new Jedi Order. I just think it could have stood for like a new generation of Force users, or kind of just anybody that is inspired by the myth.
Yeah, I agree.
Literally every day, I'm just like, I'll stand around at work and I'll be thinking about this movie, and I'm just like, it's Rise of Skywalker, but there's no Skywalkers left. It's weird.
They decimated the Skywalkers.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I got one final point in the novelization.
Okay,
And we're gonna talk about Ben. We're gonna talk about Ben's end.
Mm-hmm.
let's do that.
I
haven't
when
heard
he just
this
like
before. Yeah,
when he died, dead ass.
Actually,
There's a meme real fast. There's a meme of that where it's like Ben like laying over dead. He's like, and it's like caption, "Just died, dead ass." You're all like shaking your heads.
kick you. But no. So a lot of articles have been floating around because 3 out of 4 of these board members are Rayla. Articles have been going around that says like Star Wars confirms their kiss was not romantic at all. I'm just to clear the air, that is clickbait headlining, because I have the physical passage here, and like when you read the full passage, like all they've been running with is just a kiss of gratitude, which it's not a thing when you're kissing for 10 straight seconds.
Yeah.
it's idiotic.
But no, it's like it doesn't stop at a kiss of gratitude.
JJ just wanted to appease the fans.
Shut up. All right.
JJ just wanted to appease the fans, and then like do the story logical thing and kill him off.
It's not logical.
Was it logical?
Oh,
It's not.
Continue
the
reading,
passage.
Nathan. Let's
I
read
got
the
passage,
passage.
yeah. All right, so the passage actually goes, she leaned forward and kissed him, but like the next sentence goes, a kiss of gratitude, acknowledgement of their connection, and celebration that they'd found each other at last, which fuels way more into like their actual like loving connection. It doesn't just stop at straight like, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
No, it's like they have a deep bond that like is all coming together at this moment.
Yes,
that
which
whole passage goes into.
Mhm.
And then he grows cold, and I don't want to keep going with that. But no, it's interesting with Ben though, because this whole passage goes through a lot of different things. Of Ben, he's crawling. I think it had said he had broken his ankle. That's why he's got that limp. And I think he had at least like 2 broken ribs.
jeez.
Yeah, I mean,
Sad,
look
right?
at when he hits that rock.
Yeah, for real. Like, God, it's awful. But it was interesting. It's depressing because this whole point, like Ben is constantly in the mindset of putting himself down. He just like wants to give the galaxy back Rey because he cares that much for her, and when he does, he's happy that she's back, and like he sees that she sees him, and he's completely still put himself down. He's just like, if she just walked away and left me behind, completely get it.
Whoa,
Like,
that's in the novel?
Yeah, he's like, I deserve.
Oh my god,
Gee, if only that
that's so
happened.
emotional.
Gee,
It's
if
so
only that happened.
self-deprecating. It's horrible, dude.
Gee, if only that happened.
It did happen. Shut up. But
No, just walked away.
no, get out. I will kick you. But
I still hate her little run. She just starts like running. She's like, "Bye."
Then, no, but yeah, it was interesting because
Dang, I'm gonna cry reading this novel, man.
it is. It's really sad the whole time. Like he's holding her, and he's like, literally every part of his being, he's pouring into her, like everything. And like
He's so- Yeah, he's so selfless ever since after that Han moment on the Death Star to Wreckage. Ever since that moment, he's so selfless on Exegol.
Yeah, and this is the first. This is the first moment that, not that like anyone else has seen Ben, but it's like that he's seeing himself as Ben to another person in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like there's a self-actualization of I am seen for my good, you know,
for who I really am.
Yeah, you know, and that's where I think it's like he becomes selfless in that moment is because he's so proud that somebody finally saw that after all this time.
And like a point in it was even like at this moment he was saying he knows this action won't make up for every horrible thing he's done, but he doesn't care. He just wants to make sure the galaxy has Rey back, and like in doing that he's literally like giving his life, which can fuel once again. If he had lived, he could just
that's why I like that kind of thing, because we've always said with redemption with Ben that people were so like against it of like, oh, the galaxy's not going to forgive him. That wasn't the point of the redemption. The point of redemption is, at least for Ben, is that kind of that realization of that he wants this so badly, and it's not the thing to tear the galaxy down. It's to put life back into it, you know? And it's sad that it wasn't both of them together to, you know, unite that. But I think his redemption is so personal, and that's what matters to the narrative of like, he's so personal to his and Rey's connection that like the future consequences of like, oh, well, who's going to forgive him? Like, he's done all these bad things. It's so overwhelmed by all this personal emotion that doesn't matter in the moment.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Redemption is an interior introspective journey.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what the other people, how they respond to it on a narrative level.
Of course there's going to be consequences, but it's the fact that he chose, like.
Yes. And if you're telling a story, that should be the concentration on Kylo, on Ben, on his emotional journey from the past 3 movies, where he's always doubted himself. Ever since The Force Awakens, he says it's too late. He always thought it was too late for his redemption. So having that journey in The Rise of Skywalker is very important. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's never too late to choose good. Like,
exactly.
That's, you know,
George Lucas has always said that. Yeah.
And continuing forward with the with him giving himself away, he does get a final word. Rey senses him through the Force, and he says to her, "I'll always be with you."
Is this after he disappears or before?
Yeah, it's after.
Oh wow,
interesting.
And that's beautiful. And so now, if you all will indulge me, there's a beautiful theory that's come of this. That Ben could still be out there.
Adam Driver doesn't want to come back.
It's not the point. We have comics.
Anyways, continue, Nathan.
All right. No, there is a great point made, because this is like only pages apart in this novel. When Ben is climbing up through the on the cliff, which it also said like he was in such agonizing pain he would be so welcome to just take another tumble down, but he had to get to Rey, and specifically he has to get to Rey because it says, "Shut up,
get out."
All right, I'm muted him.
Nice.
While he laughs. All right, it says while he's climbing to Rey, he can't sense her at all, because at that moment Rey does in fact die. She is dead at that point. Ben can't sense her whatsoever. But after Ben has disappeared, Rey can sense him. And so also with that, people were also noticing that like Leia's physical body does not disappear until the same moment Ben does.
Which is always
people feel like maybe like her physical form that's left, she's transferring to her son, or wherever Ben ends up, she'd be there as well.
I always interpret it as that, like the first thing you said of the like, you know, she's dead, but like in essence, she's you see the fan art of like Leia over his shoulder, like helping him revive Rey, you know.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that literally, but like
That would have been perfect.
Just the sentiment of that, I think, works really well for both the bodies disappearing, simultaneously.
And they're dyad, so it helps too.
Yeah.
The thing with the dyad, I think, because this was my original thing, that was always my criticism of his death, is I feel like since they're stronger together, their power would be amplified. Which is why I actually think this theory helps in my favor with that, is because like after he gets stabbed on the Death Star and Rey gives the life back into him, I think because their power together at that moment, and the fact that he is also still alive at that point, her transferring the life there doesn't have to be Leia as well, since she dies there. It could just be their power on their own, and that's why Leia's physical body's still there. So then later, when Ben does disappear, Leia can be a guiding spirit of her physical presence.
I like that better, actually.
I like that theory. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Because I always, ever since I saw the first movie, I was very confused. Like, why did she disappear when Ben does? Why didn't she disappear on the Death Star scene? Like, I guess people say like, oh, she was waiting for Ben to go to the Beyond with him. But I was like, well, you could have just easily have Leia give her life energy to Ben. And that just makes sense. Like, if Palpatine can get life energy from Rey and Ben, why can't Ben? So,
I didn't even see this like next part, which is even better. To read this passage, it says, "A voice came to her through the Force, clear and strong. I will always be with you." Ben said,
"Clear and strong."
Yeah, and then she smiled. Let the truth of it wash over her. No one's ever really gone, she whispered.
Wow,
that's awesome!
Holy crap!
I like that.
I love that.
I didn't even see that just now, and now I'm just happy.
And again, that's a way better use of "no one's ever really gone" than Palpatine being back.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's that whole literal thing that we're talking about. No one's ever really, what if Palpatine, like, it's just like.
Yeah, like in The Last Jedi, when Luke says that to Ben, or to Leia, he means that in terms of, first, like, his emotional journey. Like, no one's ever really gone in terms
of him returning and being the myth of Luke Skywalker that he learned to hate so much, but realizing how important it is.
Exactly. So much internal meaning, not like literal. Yeah.
Yes.
And just there was one more little thing that was in the tidbit. Ben and Chewie share a scene in the torture chamber.
Right, and it's from the concept art, right?
Yeah. So in the torture chamber, Ben is trying to mind probe Chewie to extract some info, as he would do. And then Chewie is like mentally attacking him with memories of his childhood.
Whoa!
Of target practice, being nestled in Chewie's fur, pulling on it.
Good stuff.
Official Chewbacca is the best character.
The term Uncle Chewie is canon.
Wow.
It's beautiful. So
dang, they're really selling me on getting this freaking book.
I know, it's great. This is some good stuff, man.
That's crazy. Okay.
So, that's great stuff. Memories.
That's some great stuff. Oh,
memories with Lando there too. So
does it describe Ben's reaction to that battle, that mental battle?
I think it had. I didn't get a chance to read over the full passage, but like,
dang, that's some good stuff. That's some delicious, good stuff right there, my friend.
Would have been great.
I love that.
In the physical film, but it's
I thought we were going to get that too in the movie. I'm like, okay, Chewie's captured, Ben's on the same ship. Like, come on, give us that scene.
He has his bandolier in his chamber, like
in his chamber,
and his bowcaster, like both of the things.
Oh man,
I thought we were going to see a Lando scene too. Honestly, in this movie, given the absence of Carrie,
it's okay. I wrote one,
like
with Chewie there too.
Oh yeah, doesn't Ben have Lando's blaster on that?
Right. Imagine them holding up blasters to each other.
I think that's what he was using for
post-redemption Ben holding up a blaster.
Oh, the target.
Post-redemption Ben holding up a blaster towards Lando, and they're both holding blasters to each other.
Oh, that'd have been so good. Again, that post-redemption awkward comedy.
Right. Right, and of course Lando's not going to be freaking out, like
exactly
because he's going to be like.
It was there. We almost had it. Oh, that Chewie scene super surprised me because I was skimming through the notes. I was like, okay, the whole Ben Chewie thing, but the mental battle? That's crazy.
That would have been, I think, the big Chewie scene that we needed. And there's a lot of good Chewie moments in this movie.
Not giving him a medal.
Right. Again, another literal fucking follow-up of
It's literal. It's already. They already addressed that in previous canon. He didn't like it. He got.
You know,
one.
JJ doesn't read the canon.
I know.
right.
But oh man, that sounds so good. Again, seeding his redemption early in the movie.
But yes, for every weird detail regarding clones and stuff, I have presented you hope for Ben Solo and cool Chewie moments.
Yeah, I'm happy now, ish.
So we'll leave it there, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna get personal.
So how about that celebration?
Yeah. So
new graphic.
the world's being rocked by this little bug.
This little plague.
This little
plague.
This little slithery thing that Zam was selling Jango Fett has sent to the world.
Oh
wow.
Bad. Anyway.
Maybe practice proper hygiene.
Yeah, so
wash your hands, everybody.
Don't touch your face.
Don't Nathan.
Yeah, so this virus that was named after a deer is out, and it's
Get your hand off your face.
Get your hand off your face. No.
You are part of the problem, sir.
I want to die.
Anyways.
No, but yeah, there's a lot of things. Most majorly today, South by Southwest has been canceled in regards to the virus.
Crazy.
So has Emerald City Comic Con, an event run by Reed Pop.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's not.
Was that this upcoming weekend, or is it like in March?
It's like next week.
Interesting.
So, our biggest hopes that we can have is we're gonna lock down ways to combat, like knowledgeable ways to like combat this in our everyday lives, so that by the time August rolls around, hopefully sooner for me because I'm trying to go to Comic-Con in July, that everything is gonna run smooth and nothing gets canceled. Hopefully.
Holy crap! If they cancel San Diego Comic-Con,
that's insane because it's gone like yearly for like so many years.
So many years.
That'd be impossible to cancel because there's so much stuff. There's so many studios.
That would suck if you get media and
I doubt San Diego gets canceled.
Yeah,
I mean they could still kind of have like San Diego Comic-Con, but like as in the sense of just having like if it gets that bad, they can just release all the news online, have like the panels when they're just with like the celebrities with each other, no fans.
Oof.
But that's just everyday.
Yeah, that's just everyday news. Like San Diego's all about the fans.
Yeah.
It's like Hall H and everything. It's I feel everybody is required to cosplay a mask. Like, no, but I feel like you have to like just set up some sort of medical precaution. I don't know how they would do it. Maybe like you have to like within the couple weeks that you travel, you have to screen yourself, get a test, and like bring a form. I don't know.
Oh, you already know there's going to be travel bans, more and more travel bans.
Yeah, things are going to get difficult.
Hopefully, people can make it to Celebration, like the actors. Yeah. Like, for example, Riz Ahmed. Remember, he couldn't get to. I don't know if it was last year's comic.
It was Chicago.
It was Chicago, and that was just because of the immigration stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of the coronavirus now, what if like Diego Luna or people from The Mandalorian, people out of this country right now, whoever is out of this country can't come back?
Just anybody,
anybody,
they could be in London, they could be in Europe touring.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I said Mandalorian, because maybe that's filming in London. Yeah. I don't know where they film that stuff.
They film in
LA.
LA. Oh yeah, you're right. But yeah, I mean, like, isn't there a whole Lucasfilm production in London right now? So anybody working on that stuff, if they can't come back for Celebration, that'd be big.
How intense of a travel ban would be in effect since it's already made its way to the States?
Well, I mean, even though it's made its way to the States, they're still trying to get it out of the States. Like, even though it's in the state, like, let's just say separatists like raid Coruscant. Are you still going to try and prevent more separatists from coming, even though they're already in Coruscant?
It's quite the analogy.
It's like, I think the biggest thing right now is like containment, because, like I think the cases in Wuhan where it started are actually going down now because they're finally like,
because everyone's leaving Wuhan.
Well, no, but just like the fact of like they finally caught up with like building the hospitals and like doing all that stuff and kind of getting the info out. But the fact is that people people all over traveled from that area, and of course it just spread. And that's the scary part, is like containing it. I think, there's a bunch of overblown news about it, of course, but it is very real, and things are changing because of it. You look at the Bond release date.
Crazy.
And yeah,
we're
it's
not even
so.
talk about that.
Hey, all my trailers still say April.
And it doesn't even have to personally affect somebody. It's the fear of it too. Yeah. And so the fear of it is also a very real repercussion of it. And you see people like buying all these masks, and so there's like a medical shortage of the masks and all this stuff, and like all these like it's like a domino effect of things, and we just don't know which way it's gonna fall, and it could.
Mm-hmm. Like, I was just looking at the Jason Ward Making Star Wars Twitter account. He said he was speaking to people in the con industry, and he's not very encouraged by Anaheim happening. I mean, I think worst case scenario, right? They just delay it to later in the year or maybe early next year,
which is hard to do because of
all the hotel stuff and
scheduling of any celebrity. Like,
look at this. Check this out. This isn't Disney. This little girl's licking the pole.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
But yeah, so it's like
that's my work every day. It's horrible.
Oh, and the biggest thing is it's what they're thinking. All these companies are thinking about. It was like liability wise,
exactly. And that's what they have to. They're
and again, that's the fear. That's the fear. Like, all right, like it's crazy.
I will say, if they do end up canceling Celebration, they're gonna lose a lot of money.
A lot less than a bunch of people getting coronavirus and suing them.
Yeah.
Would they even be allowed to sue them?
I don't know. See, the
thing is, Ace Comic Con in Boston, Ace Comic Con is still going. That's happening in 2 weeks.
We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, some events are still happening. Some are.
It's just a waiting game, honestly.
It totally is just a waiting game, like, because we don't know what's going to happen next week in terms of the coronavirus. So
I feel like there's always like a world devastating thing happening every week, every day, every year. I feel like, but we always like seem to come up out of it, finding some sort of way out. So I'm
hopefully
we'll figure this out.
Yeah, hopefully by August we'll have everything situated. But yeah, worst case scenario, they delay it. They don't just straight up cancel it, right? They just delay it.
Yeah,
I doubt they just straight up cancel it.
What month do you think they would postpone it to, though?
That's good. That's a great question. I'm not sure.
I would just like, if I were to just randomly choose, I'd say February. I don't know.
I mean, I would have to stick it to 2020, right? Or I mean, you can't go towards
you do
November.
it in the fall, though. I don't know.
There's no Star Wars in December, but we can have.
You can't do Christmas season. You can't do Thanksgiving.
You can't do Christmas season.
Yeah,
that rules out November and December.
What about October? Maybe, I don't know.
October is a safe month. September is a safe month.
October, the premiere of the Mando. So
Mando, yeah, exactly. So maybe they can market that.
That's only a month delay. I feel like if it's such a big impact, they'd need like more.
You're right. Yeah.
The thing that gets me is this coronavirus. The flu is more deadly.
Sure, it all comes down to immune system and age and
the flu is more deadly, but it's like it's scary because of the spread of it, And of course, the flu spreads.
No vaccines or no cure.
Right. So it's like it just becomes a numbers game. That's what I was kind of talking with people today. It's like, and it's like people don't show symptoms for like 14 days, and so it's just kind of it's a sheer numbers thing of like, just can go around, and then all of a sudden people don't know, and then they know, but then they try to get tested, or if people are uninsured, it's like hard to get tested, and like all these things. It's just crazy to me that like something this big happened, and then it was like just panic, So it makes me think of like what happens if there's a disease that has a way higher mortality rate.
Yeah,
scary to think about, but
it's a big thing to like we just need to remember, like obviously like the wash your hands thing, but like since like odds are us like our immune systems are probably like pretty solid. We'd be able to combat it, but there's definitely going to be people out in the world that will not. So if we show any signs of sickness, we should make sure we like stay home to treat ourselves, avoid large crowds to spread
Yeah.
Obvious important stuff.
Yep.
I blame the food market that it came from.
Cool.
That was the source of it. I remember seeing the headline. They're like, "Oh, yeah, this thing called coronavirus. Because of this food market, they had to shut down the food market."
I remember the headline that it was a kiss of gratitude. Nothing.
It was a kiss of gratitude. It started.
The snake was a kiss of gratitude.
Good old screen rant once again.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, not putting like leeway into screen rant, but they wrote about me once.
Yeah, you're at it.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm a shill now.
But
they should sell, in the Celebration merch store on the Reed Pop Show clicks.
Oh,
they should advertise some Star Wars Celebration brand masks.
Oh man,
Reed Pop would make a fortune off of that.
Oh my god,
I doubt it.
But
get your
as they say, rebellions are built on hope, and
oh, look at this
we're gonna be there in August, hopefully.
Hopefully, yep.
He's going to fight.
Yeah. If not, we'll have to host it over over in Disney World. We'll just
in regards, if the event were to get canceled, what are your guys' actions of your plans? Would you still attempt to fly out, or would you just cancel all plans?
I'd book a new. I'd be down to book a new trip with you guys.
I would love to. I think I just have to cancel because, in terms of like school stuff, but
the way things stand for me is like I'm already attempting 2 trips out there. If a specific con gets canceled, I'm just like, since that's my whole driving force of going there, I feel like it wouldn't be as worth the money.
I agree.
Nathan, if it narrowed down to the brass tacks of having to cancel one, which one would you cancel?
Well, out of Comic-Con Celebration?
Yeah.
Well, for me personally, probably Celebration, because I've never been to Comic-Con, and I have like a fucking giant
that's fair enough.
media
Especially
pass
Hall
to
H.
it, like
yeah, I would say the same thing.
Bigger than anything. Like I got to see Feige on stage, man. Amongst other legends, but like
Feige.
The bald legend.
But like also like I'm like going to like conduct
Fiji.
But like with Comic-Con I'm actually also going to like conduct actual like celebrity interview stuff depending on who shows up, because I have the media power of that, so it's gonna be crazy.
Awesome. But yes, hopefully we're there in August, and oh man, it just I'm excited that Celebration's still far away, but I'm just excited at the prospect of it coming around again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean the whole event, like the whole trip we're planning out. Other members of our party may vary, but like we're like planning to go to like Galaxy's Edge and stuff, which is going to be a big thing, but then also the fuel the continued Star Wars hype of going to different panels and stuff, depending if we win lotteries.
Into lotteries, yeah.
Oh, don't mention that word.
But either way, it'll be an exciting time to just like experience. I mean, hell, just the Star Wars show stage alone was like electric as hell.
Yeah,
the whole convention, all the different.
I just want everyone's so nice. Like that's my favorite thing about Celebration is just seeing how cool everybody is in person. There's not I swear, like the toxicity of online fandom kind of evaporates, and everyone's just like enamored by Star Wars, and it's awesome.
Completely, yes. The exact opposite of Star Wars Twitter.
Yeah. Did I tell you guys how I almost died last year?
Oh wow!
I'm like,
oh yeah.
Everybody was like, you guys were around, John Knoll, you too. I was just like walking around, and I was walking past the photo op corner, and it was like you have the ledge there where like the food court is, and I'm just walking by and I just hear like this loud clang, and I just like look over, and like mere inches from me, this legacy saber is bouncing up, and it fell from like giant heights like right next to me. I was like, Jesus.
Dang.
What? Why was just not hearing about this?
The Force saved you.
Right? Could have been me.
The saber, it calls to you.
You will bring both sabers to the food court.
I'm down. Okay, but like in regards to like Celebration, let's to spin it positively. It does happen. What are y'all most hyped for? I know
Oh,
nothing's confirmed, but like, what are your hopes?
I gotta say the new movies. Like I love the television stuff that we're going to be getting. That's mostly a definite in terms of Mando season 2, Cassian, Kenobi. But I just gotta know what the
Rebels.
next
Empire-
Rebels too.
Empire
But-
40th anniversary. Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, George Lucas.
It'll be fun.
Wish list.
Yeah, if that's on my lottery, I'm like, I'll get that. I'll trade that with somebody else. But I just really want to know, like, what are the next movies going to be about? Because that's what Star Wars is for me. It's all about the movies. So.
I think if they did that host a film panel, I would love them to just like, even if it were just in the concept art stage, which is highly likely, like showcase some of that.
Yeah, I just need
Give them
context.
Give some casting announcements would be also cool.
Wow,
If
that'd
they-
be crazy.
Yeah, for if they were like looking and stuff, or like even like team of writers they have on board who they're looking
Directors,
at, like,
writers,
Yeah,
time period.
anything.
introducing
something,
Ryan
anything.
Johnson.
That'd be wishful thinking. I would lose my voice if Ryan Johnson appeared in Celebration.
He's a cool dude, man.
You know how crazy everyone would go. Oh my god,
Knives
would-
out!
the room would break.
Yeah, I would jump on stage.
I would go crazy. Yeah.
Security. Yeah.
I'm excited
I
to
would
watch
love
around
that.
the convention. I'm excited to do my cosplay, first ever. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. But movies and what you guys just said, the Rebel sequel, which I think is almost guaranteed at this point. I know it's
And more,
rumored, but
yeah, more Project Luminous stuff.
oh
for
yeah,
sure.
that's that too, definitely.
Maybe some
first book is
teases.
gonna
The
drop
phase 2.
that weekend.
We get the Celebration exclusive cover probably.
Yeah, we're gonna be running
High
around to
Republic.
the Del Rey booth.
Yeah, pushing kids over, trying to get the Del Rey booth.
See, that
Jump
publishing
in the
panel will
barricades.
actually have
Jumping over the
shit.
barriers.
No, definitely.
I'm excited to go to Claudia Gray signing again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just not the Lucasfilm
talking
publishing
Claudia.
panel.
And I
Well,
want
the
to meet
publishing panel should be good this year.
Yeah, the
the
publishing
publishing
panel.
panel should be
If
maybe
they
actually
screw over twice in a row, that's just
that'd be crazy. Like Project Luminous 2. It's like, oh come on.
2021.
It's 2021.
Phase 2.
But also, I really want to meet Charles Soule because I don't think he was there
Oh,
last time. I would love to meet Charles Soule.
My
I would
three
love it.
celebrities I want to see again this year. To meet Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, Christopher Sean again.
Yeah.
yeah, Christopher John always. Like okay, what are you guys if like you could choose 3 Star Wars stars to be there? Who would you want to meet? Whether you want to keep it realistic or not.
Be like if you just see or meet.
Meet like as like a photo op or signing,
Keep it real or part of our dream.
Anything.
whatever you want.
This just made me realize: do we think any sequel trilogy cast members are going to be at Celebration?
Hell no.
I doubt it.
Jonas, I guarantee Jonas.
Not in terms of not in
Jonas-
terms of them saying they don't like the sequel trilogy. I think just in terms of it's over. So why would they?
Right.
Like, yeah,
Apparently, Kara Russell's doing a convention.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I can imagine Carrie Russell, definitely Jonas.
I mean, maybe Daisy's not if she's not doing anything.
Nah.
They would.
She is constantly
security,
saying
man.
she's unemployed.
The convention would break if Daisy Ridley showed up.
I mean, if
It would.
Hayden has showed up and convention's fine, but
I
well,
know.
Anakin Skywalker.
Hayden's been out of the spotlight.
Daisy Ridley, though.
That's true. That's true. John Boyega's
is-
still a
John-
fan.
Oh,
See, John Boyega would be great to meet because I want to give him my PSN.
It'd be like, add me in Battlefront.
Add me, sir.
I feel like
And he'll block
I
you.
feel like of the Trinity, I feel like the most likely you could get would be Oscar out of the 3.
Really?
Mm.
I'm the exact opposite. I think Oscar's
Really?
like, I'm good. I think he's like
I
filming
think
Dune.
honestly, Daisy is the most likely, but I don't think she would do it.
I think
I don't know.
Daisy and John are the most likely.
I feel like John's
Yeah.
tweets say otherwise.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, John's tweets are like, yeah, Disney's like, you're good, John. How about Pacific Rim 3? How's that going for you?
What about Kelly Marie Tran?
No.
Nah.
I wish.
They should.
I'd love to.
I would,
I would
love,
love
that.
that.
I just
I
want to
would
give her
love-
the biggest hug.
I would love
I would
if
pay
you-
money for Kelly to come.
Yeah.
Dude, I just want to give her the biggest hug.
I'd like to meet.
Coronavirus, you couldn't do that.
Oh God! Oh no! Now you're ruining the whole photo op.
No hugs. Just stand far.
But saying it like still goes. I would like to meet Naomi Aki. I think that'd be cool.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Kelly and Naomi, that would be awesome.
Dual photo team up. That'd be great. Get Jonas in there too.
Dude, how funny would it be to show up at John Boyega's photo op, and for the photo, you just have this giant poster that says,
Oh no.
I would get Jonas again just to have my Kylo get up to have a Chewie moment.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Do you guys think we'll get Mandalorian stars for photo ops and autographs?
I'm down. Gina?
For a photo op.
Carl Weathers does conventions.
I bet he would go.
I think he would go. I doubt the cast would
I
be
could-
up for photo ops.
Giancarlo Esposito will do autographs and photo ops.
I
hope.
could
think they'd
see
be too
Pedro
busy.
doing it for a
Werner
high-
Herzog, let's go.
I'd
Yeah.
like to see the baby.
Where is the baby?
I think Warner would do exclusively signings because I don't know.
Yeah.
Brandon, did Julian Glover do photo ops?
Yeah,
Did-
every celebrity that did autographs did photo ops.
Okay, that's cool.
Part of their contract.
Got it. Money. I feel like you could get Pedro, but he would be a lot of money.
I think he would just be too busy going from panel and then here's a photo op.
Well, to be fair,
Billy D did it, man. He's
all the Clone Wars stars did it.
Yeah, good
All
point.
the,
Good
all the
point.
Clone Wars stars did it.
Great point.
same day as well. Like he
Yeah.
went from the panel to the photo.
So
I
I'd be
never heard
fine.
Billy.
Yeah, I
I'd
take
be
my I take it back then. Yeah, you could be
For
right.
Mando, I'd be fine with meeting anybody, especially Giancarlo, because Gus Fring.
Giancarlo and Pedro for sure for me.
John Favreau.
Oh, and if Ming-Na Wen could be there too. I mean,
Yeah.
she's dead, but
Yeah, dead. Yeah, right.
She'll be back.
If
If
she's
she's
dead,
dead,
biggest
that's
waste of
awful.
time.
biggest
ever.
waste ever.
I think that would be like a bucket list for sure to meet Ming-Na Wen. She's
Yeah.
God, can you
Yeah,
imagine
I-
her character's her character's not dead? No way.
All the
But what if?
about,
But what if?
what if?
How about Cameron Monaghan?
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, well, you go with
Give me,
the cover thing, and we'll go get a photo.
Yeah, depends how much he's offering. Like if it's
It won't
like
be-
100 something for Cameron Monaghan, I'm like, who do you think you are?
$80.
Star of Gotham. All right.
Star of Gotham, the hit show from Fox.
Sir, Gotham.
They ran for 60. That must have been good.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotham's
it's
an amazing show, sir. You can leave right
I hear
now.
good things of Gotham. Yeah.
It is.
oh, I
so
heard good things too. Not. Hopefully, Cameron Monaghan isn't listening to this. He was great in the show. He was fantastic.
Cameron,
I liked
you're
him in the show.
amazing. Gotham was amazing.
But either way, Cal Can.
Anyways, yeah, Cowcast is. We could get some video game announcements, by the way, to Celebration.
That good call.
But yeah, video game characters are totally possible. We met Janina last year.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be
Blind
surprised if she
spotting.
came back. Yeah, and she's in the way back. I'm seeing that tomorrow.
Do you guys think we'll get Paul Blackthorne?
Paul Blackthorne.
Who?
Who
Nope,
he play?
zero chance.
Wait, who does he play?
He was in Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2.
Oh, okay.
He also
played-
plays Quentin Lance in
D.
Arrow.
Bradley Baker.
Laurel.
The Arrow guy.
that Arrow guy. I love him. He's great.
He's so good.
I never did finish Arrow.
Don't.
I keep forgetting his name.
I'm good. Yeah, it's like
I keep-
22 episodes. Like, jeez.
I keep forgetting the dude's name, but the dude who, Secrets Only the Sith knew, that guy.
Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah, that's right. I would get him to sign my Lord of the Rings Blu-rays. Like, heck yeah. That'd
He'd be like, I
God.
did not sign anything other than Star Wars when I'm in this convention.
You know,
Fine.
Warwick Davis. If you want him to sign anything Leprechaun merch, you have to have a golden Sharpie with you.
What?
That's cool though. I like that little tidbit.
That's funny as fuck.
That's crazy.
I think Warwick will be there. I think it's safe.
Oh, I wonder.
Ah,
Not like they
gonna
pay him
host-
a bunch of money to host stuff.
Bro, if his flight got if his flight got canceled, he'd be on a little fucking Segway in the middle of the ocean.
He would make
He
it.
loved those segues.
He'd
Yeah.
make it.
so fun.
Oh, Warwick.
Good stuff. Good show. It's over.
Oh,
Surprise! It's been almost an hour and a half.
surprise! They fly now.
Surprise! It's 2 a.m. But yeah, what a fantastic show. All around, I think we laid out a lot of good topics. We went into the very small bit we had for Clone Wars. We went really deep with like the little tidbits we had from Novelization around Skywalker, some good, some hopeful, and we touched on all of our hopes for Celebration, which we hope to take you along with us once that time comes. If that time comes, it will come. Rebellions are built on hope. But with that being said, we're gonna wrap things up. Touch things, Evan. Any lasting thoughts? Where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Harris EV9 on Twitter. Very excited to see the end of the Bad Batch arc and where things go from here during the Clone Wars. And they're really selling me on getting this novelization, so I might end up buying it after all. Actually, I might end up buying the novelization more so than the Blu-ray at this point.
All right, Carson, closing thoughts. Where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at The Force Critic. I, too, am excited to see the end of the Bad Batch and more. We're getting into. We got a lot of stuff to do in this season still, if you think about it. So I'm excited to see where's Ahsoka. Oh, there she is. I'm excited to see Ahsoka again. And yeah, it's just I think I might get novelization too. We'll see.
Awesome. And Brandon, where can they find you? Any closing thoughts?
Well, you can't find me anywhere. But closing thoughts. I'm just ready for as much as I love the Bad Batch, I'm ready to see the arc wrap up because there's so much more to dive into. So ready to dive into that. Ready for more news regarding this whole COVID-19 with Star Wars Celebration. I'm really hoping it does not get canceled because that is my vacation for the year. So yeah. But yeah, it's a fun stream. And yeah.
Right. And as always, you can find me and all the crew linked in the description below. If you enjoyed our podcast, you can catch us here every Friday. And if you did enjoy it, in fact, hit the like button, subscribe if not already. But from all of us here at Hyperspace Hype, we hope you have a great day. And may the Force be with you always.